So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology. In this episode, we're going to find out, should you buy the iPhone 12 or the Galaxy S21? By the end of this episode, you'll know which one is for you. $799 a piece here. So which phone has the better body, like the build of the phone? And I got to say right off the bat, I'm giving this to the iPhone 12, and I'll tell you why. This phone has glass, and it's still lighter than the Galaxy S21. The S21 goes to that plastic feel on the back, and you can't really tell on camera, but this is plastic here on the rear, and the edges are like a shiny aluminum here, which the phone looks beautiful, don't get me wrong. The Galaxy S21 is a beautiful looking device, but I think the actual feel in the hand, the 12 feels more the price you paid for it. This feels more like a $599 phone. It feels more like the Galaxy S20 FE, to be honest. And I feel like it's a step back from the S20 because the S20 had a glass back on the rear, and I think they could have lowered the price if they were going to put plastic on the back of this phone. So designs and looks of the phone is a very subjective thing. It's a matter of personal taste, but I'll give you my opinion. I do think the Samsung overall looks like a sleeker device due to having more of an all-screen display here on the front, and then over here on the iPhone 12 kind of still looks like the older iPhones with the notch here on the front. However, there's only one area where I think the iPhone 12 actually looks better, and that's on the edges. The squared edges just look industrial for this phone, and I do definitely think that beats out the edges of the Galaxy S21 over here. But the rest of the phone, I do think it looks more modern. It looks a little bit more sleek than the iPhone 12. So if I had to only pick one in terms of design, I probably would take this guy right here in just terms of looks. But all right, guys, so displays. The iPhone 12 finally improves to an OLED display over here over the iPhone 11, and it gets plenty bright at 625 nits, carries over the True Tone dark mode like you would expect, and does have the haptic presses where you can punch in on applications. Now, what I will say is I like that it's flat. Number one, I do think the video looks good on here because you're with OLED now. And when you punch in, the notch still sometimes gets in the way. You'll get used to it. You probably won't care, but I do have to mention it as competitors don't have that. You can see right here, we do have very good quality text here, 460 pixels per inch. So very sharp, even though this phone is only 6.1 inches, you get plenty of sharpness here for the iPhone 12. Now, for the Galaxy, they did bring the eye comfort shield here to this device, and it does do a similar thing to True Tone if you put it in adaptive mode. And then at nighttime, you can custom blue light filter it all you want. Make sure that it's not bugging your eyes. This does have an always-on display, but the thing is this phone also does have a 120 hertz adaptive rate for refresh. So when it doesn't need it, it'll kind of shut it off. But for the most part, you're going to get smoother scrolling on this phone. And then over here, when you're watching video, this device actually feels more of an all-screen display here than the iPhone. So definitely, I think Samsung has more punch to it too as well. Even though it has a little bit lower resolution because it goes with 1080p, it does give you 421 ppi. So the text is still plenty sharp on this as well. Your eyes are not going to see pixels, but there's just something about it, especially in the vivid mode, where it just pops. This display just pops and it's just smoother. So if you want a better display, pick the Samsung device definitely. If you want a more natural looking display and you don't care about vividness, you just want it to be clean and accurate, you'll definitely like the iPhone 12s as well. Okay, so when it comes to software, it's really down to which ecosystem you like. I don't want to go on too long about this. If you like the way Apple sets this up for you and gives you all these updates and you just use it the way they want you to use it, you'll like this. If you like full control over the software, you'll probably like Samsung phone a little bit more than this iPhone over here. But there's just one thing about the Samsung phone that's still, I'm just like, Apple, why have you not done this? And it's the split screen mode. I want to see split screen here for the iPhone. I mean, there's a way they can do it. I know there's a way they're going to pull it off when they eventually decide to stop being hard-headed and bring it over here to the iPhone where it'll be clean and out of the way. I'm waiting for that. That's the main staple here I think Samsung still has over Apple, but Apple has that staple of polished applications, the polished experience, you can say. But again, it's all down to which platform do you like. But that brings me on to performance. Now, both of these do have very fast CPUs. So what does that mean? You probably will never ever push these things to the limits of where these processors can go unless you're a hardcore gamer. Those people might actually see where these things can go, but most people are not going to be able to see how far you can push these phones. They're ridiculous. These are 4 or 5 year phones in terms of the actual chipset inside the body. So I wouldn't pick based on just performance alone. The Samsung phone does give 8 gigs of RAM, so you might be able to have less reloads, but as of the speed test, it looked like the iPhone was holding more. Again, both of them very quick. That's not an area that I would choose either on. I would choose it more on the ecosystem. Okay, so let's talk about their storage value really quick. And by the way, if you're getting value out of this video, click the like button. Let us know you loving the video and subscribe if you haven't already. If we go over here to settings on the iPhone, we go to general, I go to iPhone storage, 64 gigs to start. So right off the bat, better value for the Samsung phone here in terms of the starting base storage. It gives you 128 gig versus 64 gig. So Samsung has beat Apple on this one hands down. So it's hard to simplify the cameras because they are very complex, even though they come off very simple when you're using them. But let's just break this down as simple as we can. With the iPhone, you take it out, you take a photo, you're good to go. You take it out, you take a video, you get HDR video if you want. You don't have to use it, but it gives you very bright video. It has a night mode. It also has portrait panoramic. And then the front-facing camera, things match up very well. Social media video and photo looks freaking amazing on this device. And you can't say the same about every app when it comes to the Samsung phone. But yeah, that's about it. It doesn't have the strongest zoom out here. So if I bring it in, it can only go 5x. And here, that's plenty. But when you're outdoors, you might want a little bit more reach than this phone. So if you just want a really good basic camera with a really good ultra wide angle and everything just matching up and you don't really zoom that much, you might really like the easy to get results on the iPhone. They look freaking amazing. They look professional and it does all the processing for you, so you don't really have to know how to do anything with the camera. You just pull it out and shoot. Now, I'm not saying if you leave everything in automatic on the Samsung phone, everything is point and shoot as well. Very good. I think the results turn out a little bit more processed looking, meaning that there's a little bit of sharpening going on this phone to make them look a little bit sharper. The iPhone's a little more natural where you'll tweak it yourself in editing if you want sharper results. So if you like sharp photos, you might like the Samsung a little bit more. Also in video, you can go up to 8K on this phone. But what really stands out here with the Samsung phone is more zoom. They both have 4K 60 on the front and the rear. The front-facing camera to me doesn't match up as good as the iPhone does with its rear cameras on this phone, but it is a similar resolution as the iPhone in terms of what it can do on the front. This phone just has more features. It's just more feature-packed, and also you can zoom a lot farther with this phone. You can go 30x, 3x optical. It's more of a versatile camera setup than the iPhone. It's more like the Pro Series iPhone than the iPhone 12, but at the same price, if you want more for the same price, get the Galaxy S21. If you want to zoom further, get the Galaxy S21. If you want easier, more simple, just really good results and you don't care about zoom, you're going to love the iPhone 12. So Face ID versus in-display fingerprint sensor. Now Face ID has been around forever, it seems like already. We do have this, it's been around a long time as well, but it seems to be getting more accurate each Samsung phone. Right here, there I go missing when I'm trying to brag about it being accurate. But over here, you know, it is pretty good on this phone, and I think it's more useful right now as when we're out and about wearing a mask currently. Hopefully we don't got to say that forever. This phone right here, definitely easier to unlock. It also has a face unlock, but again, it's not super secure. Samsung doesn't seem to feel the need to put some kind of super secure face unlock on their device. So you can see right here, if you want the better face unlock, get the iPhone. If you want the easier to use, you know, unlocking method, I think it's the Samsung phone, because even with the screen off, all you have to do is put the finger right there and it'll unlock. So it's really down to your own personal preference. Both of them are very secure. Okay, so both of these have kind of an interesting story here. The Samsung over here does have 4,000 milliamp hour battery, so much larger than the iPhone's 2015, but the iPhone gets a little bit better battery life. In my experience, it gets a little bit further than this Galaxy S21, which is kind of weird. So I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just more optimized. It's just at this point, I don't know why it's getting close to the same battery life. It should be getting much better, but it's just not. Now, the Samsung device over here does have 25 watt fast charging. Neither of these do give you the chargers in the box, so you're gonna have to get your own charger. But both of them do have pretty fast charging, 20 watt here, 25 watt here, and they can both do wireless charging, but the Samsung can do reverse wireless charging, so it could actually share its power to others. So yeah, I would pick the iPhone if I want a little bit better battery life. And which one to pick in terms of audio? Now for the iPhone, what I like about this setup is that it's super consistent. Both of them have their loudspeakers at the bottom. Every camera is a 12 megapixel, so everything you do, it looks like it matches up beautifully. But really good. Very good quality at the full volume as well for the iPhone. Now for the Samsung phone, it looks like it matches up beautifully. Even on the front, it's a 12 megapixel. It sounds a little louder.
And that means that it's so consistent. Now I find that
but it doesn't sound as good at the highest volume.
even on the front, it's a 12 megapixel.
iPhone sounds a little more bassier. So if you want a little bit louder, pick the Samsung. If you want a little bit fuller sound, a little bit richer sound at the full volume, pick the iPhone. And connections, phone calls, both are great. They both have Qualcomm inside, so we have no issues there. Both are 5G, both perform exceptionally well. So in conclusion, which one is the better device? If I can only pick one out of these two, I think I'm going to pick the iPhone 12. I think the iPhone 12 just feels like a more premium value at this price point because Samsung decided to go with the plastic here. Now for the more upper level iPhones, I definitely think the S21 Ultra is the better pick. But here for this level, it just seems like this one, they're just taking step backs here. No micro SD card slot versus the S20, no glass back. It feels like an upsell to the other Galaxy phones, whereas this one feels very similar to the other iPhones, just smaller and a better price point. So I think this feels more like what Samsung did with the S20. Hopefully Apple doesn't go to no plastic backs on their phone, but I would pick the iPhone 12 here. But if you like Samsung, this is still a really good deal here in the Galaxy S21, but it makes you think, with a plastic back, should I just get the S20 FE? It's even cheaper than this phone. Thumbs up if you found this video helpful, entertaining, informing, and let me know what you guys would pick between these two, or if you're deciding between them, let us know which one you went with. I'll catch you all in the next episode. Nick here. Be sure to be well, and peace.